Evening. Welcome to House Groups. We are in week 2 of our second half of Ephesians series called Walk Worthy. And this week we're studying the second half of chapter 4, where Paul shows us how we as Christians can change. And when you think about it, so many industries and fields are dedicated to helping people change, from education to therapy, social work, fitness, nutritional work, addiction recovery, and we could go on and on. Many of you work in jobs every day that are about helping people change. But here in the scriptures, we get an amazing look at how people can actually deeply change. Here's what Paul tells us in Ephesians chapter 4, starting at verse 22. He says, "You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." And so we said there are 3 steps to change. Number 1, you put off your old self, your old ways. Number 2, you have to have the time to daily lay yourself down on God's operating table to let him renovate your mind. And number 3, you put on your new self. That is, you walk in his new ways instead. And so where is it that you want to see change in your life? You have to start with putting off old habits. Romans chapter 8, verse 13 says, "For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live." Because listen, it's a war. And if you want to win against your flesh and the devil, you've got to fight. In fact, it reminds me of a story that's been told by Haitian pastors. There was a certain man in Haiti who wanted to sell his house for $2,000. And another man wanted very badly to buy it, but he was poor and he couldn't afford the full price. So after much bargaining, the owner agreed to sell the house for half the original price with just one stipulation. He said that he would retain ownership of one small nail protruding from just over the door. Well, after several years, the original owner wanted to buy the house back, but the new owner, he didn't want to sell it. And so the first owner went out and he found the carcass of a dead dog, and he hung it from the single nail he still owned. Well, soon the house became so unlivable that the family was forced to sell the house to the owner of the nail. And the Haitian pastors will end the story by saying, if we leave the devil with even one small peg in our life, he will return and hang his rotting garbage on it. And so I ask you, what is that nail? That part of your old self that you are letting hang around? What do you need to put off this week if you're actually going to change? And if a huge part of the change process is a daily renovation time with Jesus, how can you bring that back into your life, or for the first time? Or what positive actions do you need to start doing to replace your old habits? I want you to talk through these questions tonight and think systematically, think biblically on how you can begin to see change in your life. Amen.